From time to time, every person has a moment when he wakes up and wants to change something in his life. Sometimes it's to start exercising and get in shape. Sometimes it's to start reading more books, start meditating in the morning, learn to play guitar, learn a foreign language. This list is endless, and the person decides to make it his new habit. The first few days pass perfectly, as the person is motivated and interested in his new job. But as time passes, each time a new habit begins to worry a person less and less. It's fine, I'll just do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, but the person still does not want to get to work, and he promises himself to do it tomorrow again. And this continues until his new desired habit is completely forgotten and erased from his life. The fact is that almost every one of us has been in such a situation. But why is this happening? Why is it so difficult to follow our new habits? One of the reasons is that the habit that we are trying to develop for ourselves may be too heavy and overwhelming, so we may have some psychological resistance. In the beginning, when we are motivated, it is much easier for us to do something. For example, when we decide to start going to the gym, an hour-long workout does not seem so difficult for us, because our initial motivation acts as a powerful driving force. But after a while, this initial motivation disappears, and now there is nothing to move us forward and fill us with energy for a daily trip to the gym, since we have not yet had time to form a real habit. That is why, when we are not motivated, we will most likely just skip a workout in the gym, because devoting a whole hour to it seems simply frightening and impossible for us. Therefore, instead of constantly relying on the motivation that pushes us forward, we should focus on creating our new habit. Let me explain to you what I mean by introducing you to the 2-minute rule. When you plan to start reading 50 pages a day, meditate for an hour every morning and start running 10 kilometers every day, then it can be quite difficult to get into the habit. But the truth is that most of the tasks that we constantly postpone for later are not so difficult to accomplish. We just avoid starting them because we make them seem so complicated. The 2-minute rule is to trick your brain into thinking that the habit you are about to acquire is not as complicated as it seems at first glance. So, all you have to do is break a big and heavy habit into small and simple 2-minute versions. Obviously, your goals can't be achieved in 2 minutes, but in that time you can develop any habit. And once you start doing something, it will be much easier for you to continue doing it. For example, if you want to make reading your new permanent habit, then just take a book and read only 1 page. After that you can put the book down, but before that you have to read for at least 2 minutes. Many people will think that reading 1 page at a time makes no sense. But the main point is that your new habit should not seem routine, otherwise you will just start to despise it. Subsequent actions may increase in complexity, but the first 2 minutes should be as easy as possible. The habit is not that you will do anything until you collapse from exhaustion. Therefore, to begin with, you just need to start taking small steps. When you start doing something, it's much easier for you to keep doing it. Because your initial psychological resistance has disappeared, since you have already started doing what you wanted. Using the 2-minute rules, your goals should be something like this. Before you become a writer, you need to write just 1 sentence. Before you start speaking English fluently, you need to learn the English alphabet. Before you run a marathon of 42 kilometers, you need to put on sneakers and go outside. All these initial things are very easy to do, but at the same time they are extremely important, since it is with them that your habit begins. You can't write a book if you can't write just 1 sentence. Can't you run a marathon if you just can't put on your sneakers and leave the apartment? But even if it's just 1 sentence and a 5-minute walk to the nearest sports ground is already much more than nothing. And what is even more important here is that you have started to do specific targeted actions that will strengthen your habit every time. In the end, 1 sentence that you wrote turns into a paragraph, which then turns into a chapter, which in turn turns into a whole book. But you have to start with this first sentence. So try applying the 2-minute rule whenever you're struggling to stick to a habit. The most important part of any habit is its beginning. It's not about how well or how long you do it, but about consistently and on an ongoing basis taking concrete actions in this direction. Instead of trying to develop a huge and difficult habit, start taking small and simple steps, but at the same time adhering to constancy. This is how you can master a new habit for yourself. Writing just one sentence is much better than writing nothing at all. Just putting on sneakers and leaving the apartment is much better than staying lying on the couch. 2 minutes of reading is much better than never picking up a book. It's much better to do less than you hope than to do nothing at all. A little later, you will have a lot more time and opportunities to improve your performance. Remember that it is impossible to improve a habit that does not exist. So just start acting, and the rest will follow.